All right, Minnesota coming up this weekend, and always a challenge going out there. You know, Minnesota traditionally been a very good hockey team. Olympic sheet, which is different. We have Wisconsin and Minnesota in the Big Ten with big sheets, so that presents some issues. But you know, I thought we were pretty good on it last year. We should be fine with it. You know, Coach Motzkow's there from, you know, came over from St. Cloud, so they've had a coaching change. Bob's a tremendous coach, and you know, the success he had at St. Cloud, I'm sure will continue in Minnesota. And you can look what he left behind. I think they're the #1 rated team in the country this year, this week, St. Cloud. So you know, and I think anytime you have a new coach, you're figuring things out, moving along. But they're a dangerous team, and just getting rolling here in the Big Ten like ourselves. Just a few games, but you know, you look up front, they've got like Pitlick and Sheehy and Gates. Those are veteran guys that have scored a lot in NCAA hockey. Walker's playing real well as a freshman for them. Their goaltending, I think, Shearhorn and Robson in .916 and .925 save percentages. So you know, they're going to be a good team. They're going to play fast, and again, they're just kind of, you know, figuring out who they are like a lot of other teams. But I would assume that Bob will have them going. It'll be a good challenge, and I think it's a good spot for us to be right now. And Thanksgiving trip, we'll go out and see what we can do in the Big Ten.
Yeah, do you see any differences in the Gophers on video from Danton to now to Moscow?
You know, a little bit. I mean, you have a lot of the same guys back. You know, I've known Bob a long time, and you know, with the U.S. team played St. Cloud, so we've seen them. And then, you know, there's some similarities. I mean, I think Don and Bob both like a you know, a really up-pace kind of game. The D-joining, you know, a lot of offense and a lot of talent, and you know, that's difficult to play against. So I think there's some similarities, but you know, Bob will put his brand on it, and you know, as recruiting, you know, I think they have 8 or 9 seniors that are playing. So you know, next year you'll probably see a little more flavor. Bob will probably have more of his recruits in, but you know, they're similar in the sense that there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of draft picks, and they can skate and make plays. So you know, they have the same concerns, I think, for us going in against.
Going back to last weekend, did you see your defense improve, take a step, only allowing 4 goals, and obviously the other?
Yeah, I thought I'd go back one more game. I think from Friday night in Arizona to Saturday night, just a couple adjustments. We kind of tweaked some way our defensemen handled the rush, and tried to get our forwards to be a little more responsible doing some things. And I think that was a good bump for us. And I thought over the last weekend, we did a really good job. Not just in terms of, you know, keeping them from scoring a lot of goals, but from shot suppression and back pressure and transition. And I always count defense, like today's a bit of a defensive day for us. We'll work on forecheck. And forecheck, you know, when you don't have the puck, you're playing defense. So it starts from there. And I thought that took a lot of pressure off us. I thought we did a much better job rotating and getting more pressure and getting the pucks. And you know, that was a big move. But I did like the way they played. It was just a more mature style of play. We were able to transition faster, and because we did a good job of that, our breakout percentages were, you know, some of our highest of the season against a really good forechecking team. So yeah, there was a lot of positive things, but I think we defended well last week, and that's a good thing. Somebody help Fred out.
I got it.
Yeah.
After a pretty encouraging start, you lost 5 in a row. Now, how bad does this team need to just taste a victory?
Well, you know, winning, well, 2 things. It's a lot of fun, and it cures a lot of problems, and you know, it really solves all problems. But I think the bigger thing is the psychological side of it. And you can do things right and not win. And when you play a sport like hockey, where, you know, we play a lot of games. There's a lot of close games. You know, all our games are basically 1-goal games. You know, you can get on the downside of it, but that's really, I think, more weight on us as coaches. And our job is, you know, especially on Saturday after that game, to set the tone, kind of know where we want to be on Monday at practice. And so, you know, that's a bit on us. So, you know, we kind of talked to them after the games and went through a couple things. It's not long. It's only usually a couple of minutes, but we talked a little bit about where we were going and what they needed to do on Sunday to be ready to get better again on Monday. And then we readdressed some things, we do after action reports every Monday after the weekend, and focus on us and what we go through. And I was very impressed with where our guys were at mentally and physically. Had a great practice yesterday. So, you know what, that's, again, I put that on the coaches to deal with that. And we can't, go back and replay those games. Our focus, a little bit like Coach D was saying, is the focus is on that next game. And that's where we're at. And we'll take some of the good out of last weekend and build on that. And that's, like I said, that's one of the bigger jobs in practice is taking away the down things and giving you some hope and some faith and, some assurance for the future and some things that you can't really see. And like I said, that's a huge part of coaching. And I think our guys, they've done a great job. I get confidence from our guys, and I get a good feeling, and I want to play on Friday night based on how they showed up in practice yesterday.
So you're disappointed but not overly discouraged by this stretch?
No, it's, you drop 5 in a row and you go back and you can make all these excuses and say this, and that, and we played okay here and there. That's, hey, we're in a results business, and that is what it is, but you can't change it. And what you can do is get better moving forward. So discouraged, no. Did an interview a few weeks ago, and the question was asked, what's your biggest concern or whatever that, and I think at the time we might have been 4-1 or 4-2, I guess. And it was just that our expectations for our program would outpace where we are in reality. And again, that's the thing that a coach has to deal with, and that's when frustration gets in there. Well, we're 4-2, so we should finish the season at 22-11. Well, sports doesn't work that way, and you don't want to be too high or too low, and you want to take criticism and compliments and be pretty level. I think John Wooden said that. Don't take either of them too seriously. So that's where we've kind of tried to be. But you know what? Our job is to kind of keep. We're better than we were last year. I think we're much better than we were last year, and that's a good thing. And our goal is to be better next week. And our guys, we talk about character drives the process, drives the results, and they can take care of really focusing on the first part. We'll guide them on the process, and then results will follow. So that's something we've tried to stick with, and I think it's a great way for the guys to go through it and keep things in reality driven really well.
And what was your assessment of the offense last weekend? Did you think you had enough good chances to score, or was it meant to score?
I think. Are you talking about us or the basketball team? Basketball team had great offense.
Exactly.
Probably used Nick Ward, somebody that could dunk a couple for us. You know what? It was. Again, you go back and it's a results thing. We scored 1 goal each night. I thought Friday night we had a decent amount of chances. We didn't have enough, and we only had 6, I think, scoring chances. In the high danger area. We had 15 on Saturday, so it was much better. And I think the guys, that was more of a commitment thing, getting in front of the net, screening the goalie, getting some rebounds. But overall, if you look at chances for, chances against, and that's kind of like. You know what? It wasn't bad in that sense. Like we had enough to win the game, and we just got to work on bearing down. So, results-wise, 1's not good enough. We're in a little bit of a drought, but again, you can't get away from the process. And I liked what we did on Friday night. I thought Saturday night we did a little bit better, and and that's when you got to rely on getting a rebound, and kind of like the old White Sox, you got to win some games ugly, and we'll get a rebound to go, and those things even out as long as you continue doing the right things. And I think we hit 5 posts over the weekend. I mean, any of those go in, and hey, it's a completely different weekend for us. So again, try and keep things in perspective. We did some things right, and we'll continue to build on those. Our forecheck I thought was good. I thought our decisions in the neutral zone was good. I thought we put pucks on net. We were better in front of the net the second night, and you can't stop doing those things, and don't lose confidence. Just say, yet is one of the most powerful words in the English language, and we're not scoring enough goals yet, and that's how we approach it with our guys.